Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another trade recap. I've been slacking just a little bit on YouTube, but this week I'm coming back and it's going to be great. So, let's get into it. This is the pound yen, and this is a long trade that I took about a weekish ago that performed really nicely. And I'm going to go over why I took it fundamentally, why I took it technically, trade management, all that good stuff. So let's jump right in. Um, if you haven't already, do subscribe because there'll be plenty of videos coming out very shortly. And if you enjoy the video, get any value, give it a thumbs up. And follow me on Instagram. Link is in the bio because I do post a lot of trading stuff on my stories and education, stuff like that. So let's jump right in. This is what the chart looked like when I was, thinking about a long trade. I took a long trade here, worked out well. my management, my trade management was decent for the trade. Um, However, yeah, basically, long story short, I moved my stop, and it did end up getting taken out. Unfortunately, I did want to hold it, but yeah, for some reason I should have left it at break even. I didn't. It's okay. Lesson learned. This is why I almost never use a trailing stop. I either take partial profits and leave it at break even, um, or I just get out of the trade, or I don't take partials and I leave it at break even. I don't like trailing my stop. This is exactly why. Anyways, I was looking for another long entry because I was overall long bias on this pair, and let's go over why. The British pound, nothing really fundamentally going on with it. Uh, Mostly everything coming out is negative, right? However, most of the Brexit worries, trade talks not going well with the EU, no deal is possible. Usually that would spark, maybe a year ago, it sparked massive, massive pound selling. Over last summer, the pound just melted, right? But now that's sort of the expectation a little bit. Very possible that there's going to be a no deal. And the market sort of is expecting it now, so it doesn't have as much of an impact on the pound as it did, like I said, maybe a year ago or even maybe 6 months ago. Um, but regardless, here we are. Investors are buying up the pound. Just looking at price action, there's not a lot of selling pressure, or there wasn't a lot of selling pressure in the last month or so. And so because of that, I figured the pound, if nothing really negative happens, is likely to continue higher. And as for the yen, fundamentally, overall, the yen is very rarely a sell. Unless you have extreme fear in the market, usually the fear dies down quick, and usually greed will take over. Now, why does this matter? Why am I talking about fear and greed? For those that are new to fundamental analysis, fear and greed drive the market. Market sentiment overall, if things in the world are bad, then people and investors will buy safe havens, such as gold, such as the Japanese yen, such as the Swiss franc. So when there's fear, GJ usually heads lower, right? Like we saw in the coronavirus. There was massive fear and people bought the yen and right, GJ sold off. Well, now that that fear has died down, I do expect this thing to continue heading higher. Like I said, unless something super, super bad happens with the pound, I think this thing overall will continue heading higher. My viewpoint was it would reach here eventually and then break and continue heading higher. Because fear will die down, greed will take over, and I do think things will overall continue getting mostly better, right? So I did expect the yen to be pretty weak. So for those reasonings, there was nothing immediately really bad happening, so I figured the yen would head higher. I was waiting to get in on a pullback. Now let's talk technicals. I saw this. I was waiting for a pullback into this region here to get in. So let's start drawing out zones. we already have obviously the moving averages. We have the 4-hour, 50, 100, and 200 moving average, and then we have the daily 50, 100, and 200 moving average. That looks weird because they are daily moving averages that are on the 4-hour chart, so they only update once a day. Now that we have that out of the way, let's draw zones first. So let's do that. We have this zone here. We have this zone here. We got this zone there. We have this zone right here. And as you can tell, I draw my zones with rectangles because usually a zone is not a specific price. It's sort of an area where there's a lot of liquidity. So I draw as zones and not just a horizontal line. All right. So we have the major zones for the most part. Maybe there's one more little one here. All right, so we have our zones marked off. Let's now take a look at trend lines. So it broke out of this wedge here. And let me just, okay. So that's about all the trend lines I would have. Yeah, so that's about all the trend lines I'd probably have. Maybe a couple more, but these are the main ones. And so next up, all we have to do is draw our Fibonacci, and we can start looking at possible areas to get in a trade. So we have this bigger Fibonacci here, and there's sort of a golden range, right, to call it, between the 61 and the 38, where it's usually a good area to buy. Anything above here is a little too risky. Anything below here is, again, a little more risky. So in a healthy trend, it would land somewhere in this region. But this is the bigger fib, right? This huge move higher. But there's a smaller wave, right? Obviously right here on this wave up. So we do have a smaller wave like that. And we can see this is the sort of golden area between the 61 and the 38 in this region right here. So I would be looking to buy when price got into this area, right? And then we do have these moving averages here that would support it. So I would get in probably in this area. I'd get in somewhere in this region between the 50 and the 38. We also have this support, and we also have these moving averages. So we also have these trend lines. So really great area of confluence here. I was looking to be a buyer. Pretty straightforward technicals, right? So yeah, let's see what happened. Massive sell-off there. And let's go down to the 1 hour. So on the 1 hour, reached this area, rejected really nicely. And came back even lower into these trend lines. Again, rejected nicely. And so I got in on this pullback, I believe. So got in somewhere in this region. And this was my first target. was this area. And then second target was going to be up here. So really nice risk reward. My stop loss was, yeah, roughly around here. Here would be a little too large, so it was right there. 100 pip stop, TP up here. Really, really solid risk reward. And honestly, I would have held even probably a little bit further as well. Now, I would take partials here, a little partials here. So it wouldn't necessarily be a 6-to-1 trade. It'd be less, right? Because if you take partials here, you have less on the trade when it hits here. If you take partials, you have less on the trade when it goes higher. But regardless, this was the trade, right? Pretty straightforward. It's in an uptrend, came back, and looking to take it long. So everything looked very good. Let's see what happened. Let's go down to the 4 hour actually. All right, so let's see. As you can see, yeah, it moved very nice. Hit our first target, rejected a little, and very quickly almost hit our second target. So already just a nice trade, right? Almost 4-to-1 risk reward. I've taken some partials, moved stop to break even. So really solid trade. I'm thinking it's going to head higher eventually. But yeah, as for now, that's about as high as it got. And this is where it sits currently. So really solid trade. Technically, fundamentally, everything looked pretty nice. It would be good to have a better fundamental driver, as nothing super strong fundamentally was driving this trade, just overall sentiment. But still, very nice trade. Like I said, not going to trail my stop. Just it's at break even. I've taken partials. So it's a winner, right? Regardless of what happens. If it somehow comes crashing down to my entry, still a winner. So yeah, I will be holding probably until it gets to this area. So that's it, guys. That's the trade. Really you just need to find a couple opportunities like this a week, or even a month. You only need to find a couple opportunities like this to really, make a killing in your trading, right? Because the beauty about swing trading, or I guess day trading, it would be like this too. The beauty of trading is that you can hold them as long as you want. So even if your risk was, let's say, this low, right? I got in like right here. Even if your risk was just this low here, right? This would have been like, let's see what the risk reward would have been. So if you risking it like that, and so that would have been, no, we got in like there. Okay. So that would have been almost a 10-to-1 risk reward. And if it gets to where I think it will get around this area, I mean, it's a crazy risk reward ratio, right? But the thing is, if you understand the technicals and you understand the fundamentals and you're good at holding your winners, really you never have to worry about trading again, honestly. And I know that's a bold statement, but think about it. You're risking 41 pips, right? Once you saw that price was, like this, once you saw price was like that, you could have figured, okay, this is looking nice. Whereas most people would view this and say, okay, right now it's at 2.5 risk reward. I'm going to take my profits. What if it makes a double top, right? I'm going to take my profits. Well, looking at this chart, anyone in the right mind would, who has been, who's not influenced by their own emotions because they're in a trade, then you would see that you would not be taking profits there. This is looking like it has potential to get here and get here eventually, right? So you would be stupid to take profits there. So you can have crazy winners that, has a really nice risk reward without risking a whole lot of money. So the main takeaway, really my whole point is don't risk a whole lot of money. That'll keep you in the game, right? So risk no more than really 1% per trade. And hold your winners as long as you can, honestly. Of course, within reason, within the fundamentals, within the technicals. Don't just keep holding, for as long as forever. I mean, obviously you need to have a little common sense. You need to take profits eventually. But almost no one's going to have that problem. I don't think anyone here who's listening to this is going to hold forever and have that issue of holding winners too long. Most people have the issue of cutting winners too quick. So hold your winners, right? Like if it does end up getting into the area, I think it will. That's 600 pips, right? And I was risking, like 100 pips. So really great trade. This is a good example of holding your winners, right? Most people right here probably would have taken profits, and then you would have missed out on double the amount of profits. And you're never going to be perfect. Like on EU, I took an EU trade, and I missed out on so much money just because I cut. There was really no reason to sell, in all honesty. I should have held, but I just didn't. I wanted the profits. It's very easy once you understand psychology to understand how you're thinking, how your mind works, and to tell yourself, dude, no, this is not helpful. Don't do this. I know you're feeling this way. You're scared. You want to take profits. You want to secure it, but it's better for your P&L. It's better at the end of the day to hold it, right? And especially if you're at risk-free, like if you're at break-even and the trade is risk-free, there shouldn't be any reason why you would struggle to hold a trade. You're not going to lose any money, right? Take a little bit of partials so it's a winner. All you can do is make money and just hold it, right? Hold it until it doesn't make sense to hold it any longer. Like this could be a trade that I'm in for a long time. Like there's no reason this trade might get up to here eventually, or maybe even up to there eventually, right? So does it make sense to get out of the trade right here? No, it doesn't, right? So anyways, that's my thoughts. But that's it for this video. I hope you guys learned some valuable lessons. The technicals are simple, the fundamentals are simple, but really it's the psychology that separates the winners from the losers. I do have a educational trading firm where I teach traders how I trade, and the main difference I see, a lot of them pretty much knew the technicals when they joined the course. It's a digital course, 15 hours of video. A link is in the bio. But anyways, a lot of people sort of had an okay grasp of fundamentals. Definitely, they improved on the fundamental side of things. A lot of people have a pretty decent grasp of technical analysis, right? So that's not really what's gonna separate winners from losers, is how good you are at drawing trend lines, right? That's not a thing, right? You draw a trend line, really you can learn that in a day. The thing that separates the winners from the losers, and I've seen my students have done really well, and they're killing it. They're saying this is like the first profitable month they've had, and they're seeing consistency. The thing I preach, and that's really helped, is patience. Wait for the absolute best setups. It might take a week or 2 weeks to even get in a trade, but if you're taking the best setups, you have the highest probability of winning. Take setups that have potential to, you can hold it for a while. Don't scalp on the 1 hour chart because you can't really hold those types of trades. So look at the higher time frames, look for great setups, and hold your winners. And really, honestly, that's all you need. That is the formula. And it doesn't matter your strategy. If you hold your winners and you're patient with good setups, trust me, you'll at least be break even, if not profitable, if you are disciplined. So yeah, guys, the thing I've seen separates winners from losers is psychology, being able to hold your winners and being able to wait for the best setups. Anyways, that's it for this video. There'll be another video coming tomorrow or the next day, sometime this week. So stay tuned for that. Hope you enjoyed. Again, if you got value, give it a like, and I will see you guys in the next video.